are day by day, increasing like anything. Okay, every day we get to see, a lot of banking frauds and phishing scams and other things. Okay, so it will basically help you to create the self awareness, right? And if you wanted to beat the bad guys, okay, you have to think like a bad guy. That's the reason, okay, in our course, most of the time we'll be going and learning all the concepts in terms of like black hat hacker. Then after that, we will figure out like how they are penetrating and what is the defensive method to stop it, right? And there are a lot of opportunities I can say in the cybersecurity, but the main thing is like you should be, very good at like
You muted.
totally depends upon skill set, right? So hopefully, you people gonna get the good knowledge from this course. Okay. So for that, like, see, I don't want to directly take you to the CH course. Okay. So first of all, let us discuss like what kind of a prerequisites, to get started with. Okay. So first of all, I can tell you is like you should have experience on handling the virtual machines. Okay, so it's very, very easy, playing with the virtual machines and installing it nowadays because, the technology is improving like anything. It's very easy to do it. Okay, so I'll be explaining you this, what is virtual machines and how to play with it. If somebody knows it, okay, and if somebody have any virtual system, you just put it in a comment box so that, I can understand that how many people are having it. The next thing is, this is kind of a mandatory thing. Like you should have basic networking knowledge, okay, to understand the various concepts like OSI, OSI 7 layers, and what is MAC address, what is IP address, and what is the difference between public IP and private IP, and different types of protocols, and TCP, UDP, transport layer protocols, the basic things. Because most of the nowadays, if you see how attackers are basically penetrating, okay, is the first thing they will try to reach that system through the network, right? Then after that, you know, okay, I can say network layer attacks are, being well prevented because of the network level security devices such as firewalls, IDS, IPS. Using this kind of a devices, all the network layer attacks are prevented. But if that web server, okay, if it is still running some kind of an application, okay, through that application vulnerability, they will be entering into the same server, even if you have, you know, good network security, but still they are going through the application vulnerabilities, right? So you should have the knowledge on this all the topic. It's very, very mandatory also, right? So if you people don't have the knowledge, please go and look it into CCNA basics. Okay, CCNA basics. Okay, so CCNA is basically Certified Cisco Network Associate. It's a basic certification in Cisco thing. So I hope you will get this free online books in the internet. Okay, so you don't need to go with the router configuration, switch configuration, and other thing. Okay, so you just need to go with the basic things, whatever we have discussed over here, right? Then, we should have a knowledge on Kali Linux operating system. Okay, so and Windows operating system, because most of the time attackers are, playing with the Windows operating system because they are targeting more audience. You got my point. They are targeting, they are targeting Windows operating system because more audience is basically Windows, right? If you see any company, even most of the people are using Windows operating system, right? It's not like only restricted to Windows. Even you can feel free to go and explore other operating systems also, right? But it's mandatory to have an experience on Kali Linux operating system. The people who are new about Kali, okay. So I'll explain you what is this Kali Linux operating system and why we'll be using it, right? So Kali is basically, I can say, it's basically open source operating system. Okay, and it's meant for security people. Okay, all the security researchers and all the ethical hackers and penetration testers, they will use this Kali Linux operating systems to perform the various attacks. It's not like we can able to do it with the Windows, but most of the tools, like 90% tools, are pre-installed in the Kali Linux operating system. It means that already, this operating system has all the inbuilt tools. Okay, we just need to use this operating system to, uh, run the different attacks. Okay, so these all the technical aspects. Like you should have a knowledge. Like this is like technical knowledge, but when it comes to the non-technical thing, you should have a lot of patience to deal with various attacks and to understand the various scenarios. Okay, and googling self-learning things, and reading uh, new security related blogs and news and etc, because this will basically you know build you better knowledge, I can say, because security has, it's a very very vast subject. Okay, and every day we have to keep on updating ourselves and learn new topics. Okay, so this non-technical things will help you to do that, right? So these are the some of the prerequisites, and let me know how many people are know networking and how many people have virtualization, and and how many people are very much familiar about Kali Linux operating system. Because if you are not aware of these topics, so what I'll do is I'll start from these topics only. Okay, if most of the people are aware about these topics, okay, I'll skip these topics and we will move for the modules. Guys, are you there? Just send me in a chat box. I need information about Kali. Yes. Okay. Uh, Chalo. No worries. I'll start from, you know, uh, installation setup and installation guide. So no worries. Okay. So let's get started with the definition of cybersecurity, right? So cybersecurity refers to the body of technologies and process and practice designed to protect the network devices, programs, and the data from the attacks and damaged or unauthorized access. Okay, so it's basically a kind of a framework which is designed to protect all the network and devices and programs and the data from the damage or unauthorized access. So what I can say is, providing the security for all the devices which are connected to internet, okay, with the help of the designed process and technologies, right? So this is the definition of cybersecurity. Okay, and very much similar to that, okay, we have what is hacker. Okay, so cybersecurity is basically entire framework which is designed to you know prevent the various attacks from the unauthorized people. So who is that unauthorized people is basically hackers, right? So every hacker will try to get an unauthorized access over the device, okay, by using some softwares and hardware. Okay, he's a person is basically, okay, who will be using the softwares or computer or a hardware or some kind of a technology to gain the unauthorized access over the system or a network, right? So here, depending on the motive of the attacker, let's say, we have different types of hackers. Okay, so when I say hacker, most of the people will think in a negative aspect only, right? Even that is what also the major reason uh, India is basically lacking with ethical hackers. Okay, and what is the difference between this, hacking, like hacker and ethical hacker, and what types of the hackers are there, right? And how they have divided is basically every hacker is, divided with their motive, or I can say with their intention. Okay, so let's say now, like, we are going to learn ethical hacking. In a sense, we are also going to get the unauthorized access over the device or a network by using the software or a hardware. But we are ethical hackers in a sense. Okay, we'll be we'll be doing the same thing what hacker is doing. Okay, we'll be using same tools and same technologies, same softwares what black hat hacker is also using. But here, our intention, our motive is basically a good motive. Okay, like defensive kind of a motive. Okay, when we identify any loopholes or when we identify any unauthorized access over the device or a network, we will report to the company saying that, hey, I found this kind of a flaws or vulnerabilities in this system. So you go ahead and patch it, because otherwise an external hacker can able to penetrate it, right? So, you know, that is the difference between a normal hacker and ethical hacker, right? So, whatever the skills and techniques and tools which we are going to learn this entire course, okay, we'll be using for good purpose, okay, to safeguard various companies from various cyber attacks, right? And our approach is totally different from a black hat hacker, because, like, when I say ethical hacker, he will comes under the white hat hacker, and we can call them as a penetration testers. Okay, so our approach will be like this. But when I say black hat hacker, his motive would be totally different, because we don't know what is his motive. Okay, so these guys are, basically offensive people who will try to break the systems, who will try to breach the organizations, steal the data, or sabotage the entire network. Okay, it could be anything. It will be bad motive. That's the reason even we can call them as a crackers. Okay, we can call them as a crackers. So we have white hat hackers where, we'll be, they'll be good people, and we have black hat hacker, kind of a bad people with a bad intention, right? And we have a gray hat hackers. So these people, I can say it's a combination of a white hat hacker and gray hat hackers. Sometimes they will work for the, you know company, and with this, like, if they find some loopholes, and these people will only work for, you know a defensive, I can say, offensive. Okay, it's like combination of white hat and black hat guys, right? So first let us understand how why they will what is the motive behind their hacking. Okay, is basically, like, we have a small approach. Okay, so this approach we can call it as a MOM approach. Okay, so every hacker before, you know performing it, okay, so they'll be having their own motive, right? It could be anything. Okay, it could be personal motive, or it could be any internal and external, or some people do perform the hacking for money and excitement and challenge and, adrenal rush. Okay, it could be anything. Okay, the motive could be anything. Some people will do it for politically, or some people to gain the personal, for personal reasons. Okay, so everyone will be having their own motive. Okay, so to fulfill this motive, they will try to get an unauthorized access over the network or a system, right? So let's say here my motive is to steal the credentials of an XYZ person. Okay, my motive is to steal the credentials of XYZ person. So if I want to steal the credentials, okay, that is my motive. So if I want to steal the credentials, I have to be in their system, because when they enter the username and password in their system, okay, I'll steal that. Okay, so this is my motive. So to fulfill that motive, I have to be in their system, right? So how I'll be going to their system is basically by identifying the opportunities. By identifying the opportunities. So these opportunities are something like, I can say, the vulnerabilities or weaknesses, right? So once they identify the opportunity to enter into the system or a network, okay, so our motive is to identify the vulnerabilities in the system because we need to steal the credentials, right? So once they identify the vulnerabilities, they will take the advantage over these vulnerabilities to enter into the system. Okay, so once they enter into the system, then they will carry out the attack and they will exit from the system by taking the information like credentials or whatever they are looking for, right? So for every attack, okay, this is what the steps most of the attackers will be following it. Okay, for every attack behind the scenes, there will be an intention. It might be a bad intention or it might be a good intention at whatever the motive it is. To fulfill that motive, they will identify the opportunities. Then once they have the opportunities, they will enter into the system and they will carry out the attack. Right? So this process we will call it as a MOM, motives and opportunities and means. Right? So here I would like to cover another very important topic. Okay. So what is this topic is, let's say first understand, like let's say I have given a scenario for you people. Let's say I have given XYZ person information to you and I told you to perform the rob. Like I told you to go and rob his house. Okay. So how you people gonna plan it? Anyone can explain that, like I have given you the XYZ person details to you. Okay, now you have to plan for the rob and you have to execute it, right? So what are the steps you will be following to perform the robbery? Can anyone unmute and explain? Okay, fine. So first of all, what we'll be doing, we'll identify our motive, right? Because we are going for robbery, right? Our motive is to steal something which is important, right? Gold, money, or some kind of a you know thing, right? Then we'll identify where the person is living, right? And we'll identify, we will visit his house, right? How many rooms are there and how many gates are there, how many doors are there, how many windows are there, right? And we will check how many people are living and where they are working, what is their in and out uh, times, okay? And and what I can say that, whether they have any kind of a security posture in terms of, CCTVs or dog or fencing, how to enter and how to exit, right? And if they find anything like gold or any good important thing, how to move that without being suspect by some other people like neighbors, right? So we'll be planning many things, right? The same similar kind of a thing a hacker also doing. Okay, so let us discuss about the hacker methodology. Okay, so hacker methodology will basically help us to understand how hacker is actually attacking on a system. Okay, so we can call this as a five phases of hacking. Either we can call this as a penetration testing phases also. Okay, or hacker methodology or hacker formula. There are so many names for it. Okay, but it's a very, very mandatory for us to understand these steps. Okay, because this is a formula, which most of the attackers and penetration testers and ethical hackers are following to identify the vulnerabilities in their infrastructure, right? So, uh, so the first and foremost thing, it'll start with, I can say it'll start with information gathering, right? It'll start with information gathering. So we have to start, with the information gathering. So this phase we will call it as a reconnaissance phase. So reconnaissance, information gathering, footprinting is same. Okay. So this phase is purely an information gathering phase about the target. Okay, we have an again different types of information gathering phases. Okay, so we have passive information gathering and active information gathering. Even we have the passive information gathering tools and active information gathering tools. So because it is something very important, because if you have more information about the target, what kind of operating system or what kind of versions or what kind of IP addresses are being used, it's very easy for us to execute our attack, and it's very easy for us to choose the right exploits, right? So they will be performing with the information gathering. So here we have passive information gathering and active information gathering. So the difference between the passive information gathering and the active information gathering is that, okay, so when I say basically a passive information gathering, okay, so it's basically like there will be no interaction between the target and attacker. Okay, it means that, like, let's say if I am gathering your information, okay, so I'll be not directly interacting with you. I'll be interacting with some other your friends, or some other like Facebook or Instagram or some other third party tool where you will be posting your information, right? So we have different tools to do it. Okay, so we will discuss first with the passive reconnaissance. Okay, let's say in the passive reconnaissance we have identified few IP addresses, domain names and subdomain names, and what kind of a technologies they are using, and where they have hosted, and who is the owner of their domain, when it is going to be expiring. If you gather this all the information, then we'll be verifying it in active reconnaissance. Okay, by directly interacting with the target. Okay, by directly communicating with the target. So that phase is basically scanning and enumeration, right? So in the scanning, we will identify whatever the information we have gathered is right, accurate or not by directly interacting with them. The first thing in the scanning we'll be doing is we will identify whether the system or whether the IP addresses are alive or not. In a sense, we will check whether it is connected to internet or not. If it is not connected to internet, it's not possible to get into the system remotely, right? So the next thing is, like, we have to perform the port scanning to identify the various open ports in the system, right? So because these ports are something which are basically entry points for us. Okay, so let's say these ports will represent the services. Okay, so there are different services which you can get to see in my screen, like FTP, SSH, Telnet, SMTP. Have different services, and each and every service is running on a port. Okay, so it means that, let's say, these ports are running different services. They are accepting the FTP connections. They are accepting the SSH connections, right? It means that If this FTP or SSH or Telnet or any kind of a service which is open for all and which is having any kind of a vulnerability, so attacker also can able to enter into it. Okay, that's the reason I told you these ports are basically kind of a entry points for an attacker. Okay, so we will discuss more insight about these ports and protocols. Okay, in our scanning module. Okay, and we will understand how to identify it and what are the various techniques, tools which are available to you know identify it. Then once we all have all the information, we will list out like all the machines in the network. We will list out what all the operating systems and devices are in the network. Then we will identify what kind of a policies administrations are being implemented. So once you have all the information about the target system, okay, we will basically identify the vulnerabilities, because we are doing information gathering is to identify the vulnerabilities. So once you have the vulnerabilities in your uh, target system, we will exploit it and we will get the access over the system. That is called gaining the access. The first step is basically a reconnaissance, and second step is scanning. Okay. Then after that, we will do the vulnerability analysis. That is the third step. So once you've done the vulnerability analysis, if any system is basically triggering a red flag, okay, like this, if any system is triggering a red flag, okay, uh, like this, it means that it has some kind of a flaws. It has some kind of a weaknesses and vulnerabilities, right? So attacker will understand like what exactly is the vulnerability which is existed on this red flag system. Okay, okay, this red flag system is having some vulnerability related to application or a network. Okay, so by taking the advantage of any vulnerability, it might be network or host based or mobile based. Okay, so they will try to perform that attack. Okay, they will enter into the system and they will get the access of the system, right? So while you are evaluating the security posture of all the devices, okay, which are in your bucket or which are in your I can say which are in your scope, okay, which are in your target list, okay. So it's very mandatory that you have to check the vulnerabilities in all the aspects, okay, in terms of hardware vulnerabilities or operating system level vulnerabilities or any application or service vulnerabilities, because anything could give an access for us, okay. So we will validate that and we will gain the access of the system, right? We will enter into the system. It means that now you have done the proper reconnaissance on that guy, okay, where you're trying to perform the attack, and you find a broken window which is basically allowing you to enter into it, okay. And okay, and you have the vulnerability, okay. So before exploiting it and before entering into that guy's house, okay, so we have to wait for the right time to we have to wait for right time, right? If all the persons are living in that home and if you're still trying to enter into it, what will happen? Easily you will get caught, and that is not the right way the attacker will do it, right? So they will basically perform the privilege escalation. Sorry, they will basically maintain the access once they are enter into the system or a network. Okay, so they'll just maintain the access with that network, or they will just keep maintain the access with the system. Okay, then once they feel the right access, once they feel that it's a good time to exploit it, and if they feel that if nobody is there in the home on this particular time, yeah, they will enter into it. Okay, then they will rob all the things from the home, and while they are exiting from the home, they will wipe out all the fingerprints, or they will wipe out everything, and they will exit from the house. So similar way here also, okay, once they have the access, it's not like we will directly, attacker will directly exploit it. Okay, he will wait for the right time to exploit it, because not every time it will be the right time to exploit it and make the attack successful. Okay, so they will, for that reason, they will maintain the access with the system by installing some malwares. Okay, this will basically help them to get the persistent access with the system. Okay, even if the system get restarted, even if the system get connected to different network, still they'll be having a access. So this entire process we will call it as a maintaining the access. Okay, then once they feel the right time, they will steal the credentials by installing the keyloggers. Okay, keyloggers are something which will record all the keystrokes of the users. So we'll see that practically, okay, in future classes. And when we are discussing about this maintaining the access, then they will hide all the evidences. Then they will hide the all the evidences, because if they also got to know something is missing and some attack is happen on their system, okay, they should not able to figure out if in case if we are wiping out or deleting or manipulating all the logs, right? Even if they are giving for forensic people to identify what exactly has happened, they'll not able to figure out, because of there is no logs were identified in the system, right? So this is what the approach, will be. This is what the methodology will be following to perform the uh, or to perform the system hacking or any kind of hacking. Okay, so I hope everyone is clear with this methodology. And if anyone of you having any doubts or any kind of a concerns like, sir, are you going fast? I'm not able to understand or anything. Okay, you can let me know so that we can we can basically uh, you know I'll try to explain you another way, or I'll basically keep myself restricted to slower speed, or is it okay? Like, okay, right? So we'll be covering all the topics practically and as well as theoretically, because theoretically will help you to get the better understanding and you know uh, create a very good logic behind the attack, and practical will give you the hands-on experience. Okay, so we'll be covering almost all the things practically and as well as theoretically. Okay, so from tomorrow we'll be starting with information gathering. Okay, we'll be discussing of various tools and techniques for information gathering, and next we'll be going for scanning, and we'll learning insights of scanning, how to perform the scanning to identify more information on the devices. Then we'll be going for vulnerability assessment to identify the vulnerabilities. Okay, then we will gain the access if we have any red flags or if we have any vulnerabilities. Okay, I'll try to explain you the impact on practical basis. Okay, then I'll show you privilege escalations also, which we'll discuss on the same day. Okay, then we will try to maintain the access, okay, with that compromised system, and we will clear the logs and we'll exit from the system. So this is all the process. I'll be showing you the practicals. Okay, so to do these practicals, we need a lab. We need a lab setup. Okay, so so what I will prefer is, okay, go to VirtualBox, downloads. Go to VirtualBox, download. So this is a virtualization software, okay, which will basically help us to create a layer in our operating system. Like above the operating system, it will basically create a virtual layer. Okay, let's say this is an operating system layer. Okay, so if you install this virtualization Oracle Virtual VM, it will create a additional layer over here. Okay, it will create a additional layer over here. So you can create this additional layer virtualization with the help of any tool. Like there are VMware is there, Hyper-V is there, and VirtualBox is also there. So I'll suggest you to go with the VirtualBox. I am also using the VirtualBox, and it's very easy to manage, and it's very easy to play, and it's open source tool from the Oracle. It's a freeware. Okay, no need to get the paid one. Okay, so what you have to do is you just visit this page. Okay, you just go to this downloads page, and I'm sending you the link in the chat box. Okay, so click here. So once you click here, here it will show you, you know, the VirtualBox platform package. Okay, depending on your operating system, you do the you just download the package. Okay, so I'm having a Windows, so I have downloaded the Windows host package. Then after that, we have something called VirtualBox extension pack. Okay, download the extension pack along with this. Okay, then first install this virtualization software. Then second, install with extension pack. Okay, first install this virtualization package. Then second, install with virtual extension pack. Okay, then it will basically help you to create the virtualization in your same operating system. Okay, and okay, so now your virtualization is ready. The next thing what you have to do is, okay, inside the virtual machine, okay, inside the virtual machine, we have to install the virtual systems. We have to install the virtual systems like this. Okay, we have to install, different operating systems. So if you see here, I have 5 operating systems inside my virtual box. Similar way, you people also need to create at least 2 virtual systems. One is for Windows and one is for Kali Linux operating system, because this is something Kali which we are gonna use it. Okay, which we are gonna use it. Okay, so what you can do is, okay, you can go to offensive security. Okay, offensivesecurity.com. So if you go to offensivesecurity.com, then if you go to Kali community, then here, if you come down, uh, okay, here if you come down, you can see here we have something called virtual machines. We have something called virtual machines. Click on it. Okay, so as soon as you click on it, it will directly take you to this page where you have Kali Linux VirtualBox images. Kali Linux VirtualBox images. So images nothing but operating systems. Okay, so you can download this one by clicking on it. Okay, you download the latest version 2020.3, okay, of Kali Linux operating system. Okay, so once you download it, you have to install this. This is the third step. So once you see, it's not like very complex way to install it. Okay, once you install it, just give double click on it. Automatically, it will import this Kali Linux operating system in the virtual box, because it's a live system. Okay, Kali Linux is basically providing the live systems by giving the password and username. So with the help of this username and password, you can easily able to run it. You can, okay, you can easily able to get it. And most of the case, like if you don't have uh, enough RAM, or if your system is not supporting for virtualization, okay, you will face errors. Okay, you will face errors. So as soon as you get the error, Google it and identify why this error is appearing over there. Okay, then try to resolve it. And whenever you're doing this process first time, okay, in most of the systems, the virtualization will be disabled. Okay, the virtualization will be disabled. To identify the virtualization is disabled or not, go to Task Manager, then go to Performance. Okay, then if you go to Performance, then we have something called virtualization enable. So we have to make sure that the virtualization is enabled. Okay, if the virtualization is not enabled, then you have to go to BIOS settings. Okay, then you have to go to BIOS settings. Okay, so BIOS settings is basically, and again you have to restart your systems. So while you are restarting your system, press F12 or F10, sorry, F8 or F10. Okay, depending on the hardware which you are using. The I can say the BIOS keys are different. So while you are restarting it, so just simply go to the NetBIOS. Okay, then there you will find an option called virtualization disable. Make it enable and save it. Okay, so this is what the very common error which most of us will be getting it, because when you're doing first time it's very common. Okay, and this is how you have to basically install it. Okay, and to do this configuration, okay, so at least like you need i3 or i5 or i7 processor with at least 8 to 16 GB RAM, 8 to 16 GB RAM, and with Windows, like Windows is preferable, even you can do it on other operating system also, right? So I hope this is the small task which I am giving to you to do the virtualization and install the Kali Linux operating system on your machine. And I'm giving you the links to this resource which I have explained you. So the first thing, you have to go to download and VirtualBox and VirtualBox extension, then download the Kali Linux operating system and install the import the Kali Linux operating system, and remember the username and password. Once the installation is got over, okay, use this username and password to enter into the system, right? And if you have any doubts, guys, any doubts? So let me know how many people are having uh, like how many people are having Kali Linux operating system in your machines. I have all the lab set. Okay, Jayant is, and any other? Mahi is also having. Apur is doing. Virtualization is done. Kali Linux, I am getting error during import. Okay, Anaga, what is that error? Please, can you explain us? I have the virtual box. Okay, good. Install and import the Kali also in it. Anaga,
Uh,
please can you share? Please can you
sir,
share us the? Yeah.
sir,
Yes, Mahi.
sir, you said about VirtualBox extension. For what purpose?
Yeah. Good question. So this extension will basically help you to, you know, uh, like This basically help you to split your screen. Like if you do full screen or if you do half screen, it will basically help you to do that. Additional to that, we have many things like you can directly connect a USB devices to the virtual systems. Okay, and it will support for disk encryption, and it will support for snapshotting. In a sense, you can take the live snapshot of that system, and you can save the current machine status, you know, in a current machine status over there, and many things. Like there are so many advantages by with the extension pack. Okay, this extension pack will only make you, you know, very much comfortable with Kali by providing lot of features. Okay, you can connect you can connect like webcam. Okay, it will basically directly take mouse cursor over there. Like so many advantages are there.
How by
Input.
clicking on by clicking on all supported platforms, it will directly download the setup.
Yeah. So once you click here, it will get download. But you have to install this once the virtual box is installed. That's the reason I have written first and second.
So I already having a virtual box. After that, I have not downloaded this before all supported platforms. So
Okay,
I
you
have
can download now.
so I had to re-download it. Then.
Yeah, you can download this if in case if you are using different version than what it is appearing over here. See, if you have already VirtualBox 6.1.14, okay, then you can download the like all platforms extension. If you have other, you can download that and you can install it. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So Anaga, I just want to
Sir, I
understand.
have one doubt.
Yeah,
Sir, how much memory I have to allocate for Windows 7 while creating that
within
virtual machine?
1 GB is enough.
1 GB, like 1000.
Yeah. So I hope you have understanding of this installation process. So today you do it, the installation process. Tomorrow, if you have any difficulties, let me know. I'll try to resolve it. Then we'll start for the different modules. Okay? Because today we are also running out of time. It's already 8:08. Okay. So if you don't have any doubts, I'll wind up the session for today and do the installation process, and we will connect you back tomorrow by same time 7.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Yeah. Chalo, okay guys then. Huh? See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.